Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Roto Radio Waiver Wire series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano, here as we take a look at the Week 6 waiver wire for both the quarterback and tight end position. Guys, don't forget to win big in 2021 with Rotoballer's Rotoballer.com's NFL Premium Pass. Are you ready to dominate your season-long and DFS leagues? Rotoballer's NFL Premium Pass and Draft Kit includes rankings, projections, and cheat sheets for all formats. Get exclusive draft articles, DFS tools, lineup optimizers, and premium Slack chats. Join in on the winning and take 50% off any premium pass. Use my promo code ACES for an extra 10% discount. Visit rotoballer.com/radio, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. Let's start at the quarterback position, and it was a tough one. There were some injuries. Taysom Hill, concussion. Russell Wilson going to miss some time with that finger injury. Daniel Jones, concussion as well. So you're thin there with replacements, and then you have San Francisco on a bye, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance. Atlanta and Matt Ryan on a bye. The Jets and Zach Wilson, and the Saints, Jameis Winston. So there's kind of two-tier of quarterback here on the waiver wire. The first tier is how are we replacing Russell Wilson for this week? And it might be a week-by-week situation. And then the second tier is how do we replace him long-term? Now, long-term, my answer is Jameis Winston or Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is 54% rostered. So he's out there in about 55% of Yahoo leagues. And he now has almost 70 fantasy points, 69, I believe, over his last two games. Both games over 30 fantasy points. This week in London against the Jets, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts looked great. Patterson was involved once again. He had those 342 yards on 33 completions on 45 attempts. Problem with Matt Ryan is you can put a bid on him, but you're going to have to sit him on the bench. He's on a bye. When he returns week 7, he faces the Dolphins, not anything I'm running scared of. So Matt Ryan is a potential replacement for Russell Wilson. Also to consider is Jameis Winston of the Saints. A 4-touchdown performance in week 5, 33.76 fantasy points. He also rushed for 26 yards, 279 passing yards, on 15 of 30, 50%, that's it, but 4 touchdowns, including the Hail Mary to Callaway. Now, why do I like Winston? I actually do like Winston more than Matt Ryan, and it's all about upcoming opponents. He is on a bye week 6, so again, he's a long-term replacement. He's not helping you this upcoming week. We'll get to one or two guys for that in a moment, but after the break, he's got the Seattle defense. You could throw on them. He has the Tampa Bay defense, the worst secondary in the league. You could throw on them. And then he has Atlanta. Okay, so now you're looking at weeks 7, 8, and 9, and a potential return of Michael Thomas at some point around then as well. So Jameis Winston, long-term replacement Russell Wilson, it's Jameis Winston 1, it's Matt Ryan 2. Okay, I don't worry about Zach Wilson. I'm not worried. Trey Lance didn't look great. Ran the ball well, struggled throwing it, and they've already said Jimmy Garoppolo will be returning as the starter once healthy, which they hope is after the bye week. Daniel Jones struggled against Dallas before he got sent into La La Land. Now, short term, this is the other issue. Short term, we're struggling to find replacements this week. Tyler Heineke struggled. He's still out there in some spots. But maybe we need to pay attention to the rookie, Trevor Lawrence, who's now played better each of the last 2 weeks. Best game of the season this week in terms of fantasy points, 23.7 points for the Jaguars quarterback. Okay, part of that ties to James Robinson being used more. I do think it's taking the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence when James Robinson runs the ball well. 273 yards, 1 touchdown. He also ran for a touchdown, 7 for 28, as they like letting him keep it on the goal line, spread everybody wide, and he walks in 23 of 33. He's 50% rostered. So he faces Miami. Again, I'll pick on that Miami defense. So Trevor Lawrence is my number one short-term get me through week 6. If I can't get him, I'll go to Cleveland and visit Baker Mayfield, who had the best game of his season fantasy-wise with 27 fantasy points in the shootout against the Chargers, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. But keep in mind, for Baker Mayfield, it was only his first game all season with over 20 fantasy points. And he's going to have to play in a shootout type again because against that Arizona Cardinal offense, didn't play great against San Francisco, but you expect them to rebound. And Mayfield may not be available. He's 57% rostered. So, long term, give me Jameis Winston 1, give me Matt Ryan 2 to replace Russell Wilson. That's my primary goal this week off the quarterback waiver wire. Okay, short term, get me through week 6. Give me Trevor Lawrence 1. Give me Baker Mayfield 2. Maybe Heineke 3 if he's available. Not interested in Justin Fields. He didn't look great. Running game kind of saved him this past week. Now, at the tight end position, George Kittle, we know, hits the IL. So we look at some options. And to me, I know Njoku had the monster game. And I'll mention Njoku. 2% rostered, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 149 yards. Touchdown, faces Arizona, 27.9 fantasy points. He had been a complete non-factor before this week. So there's kind of a prove it to me again. The bid will be put in, but the bid will be small. I won't make a huge investment on David Njoku because we've seen the one-trick pony come in, have the monster game, and then go back to disappearing. Do I think he's better than Hooper in Cleveland? Yes, I do. But I'm looking for consistency at the tight end position. That consistency for me comes right now from Hunter Henry of the New England Patriots. A TD in each of the last 2 games. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 75 yards this week. 19.5 fantasy points. Goes against the Dallas secondary. Okay, that New England should be able to find Hunter Henry. Okay, this was a guy who was a week in and week out starter with the Chargers. Comes to New England, still only 45% rostered on Yahoo. Okay, but now a touchdown each of the last 2 weeks. Up next is Zach Ertz. And somebody right now may be saying, Zach Ertz, Anthony, he had 1 catch for 7 yards. What are you talking about? What I still like about Zach Ertz are the targets are remaining there. And Zach Ertz is only 38% rostered. Zach Ertz was targeted 6 times. Zach Ertz has 21 targets in the last 3 games. 7 targets per game. Okay, over that same period of 3 games, Dallas Goedert only has 12 targets. Zach Ertz is still the tight end 1 on this Eagles team, and he faces a Tampa Bay defense we know we could throw the ball against on that secondary. Jalen Hurts should be able to do some things there. I don't think they win that game, but you should be able to put up some points and throw the ball against them. Zach Ertz, 38% rostered, still 6 targets, still 21 targets over the last 3. And finally, if you're looking for that flyer ad at the tight end position, Dan Arnold of Carolina, only 4% rostered. He was targeted 8 times, 6 catches, 64 yards. Did lose a fumble, so he only walked away with 10.4 fantasy points facing Miami next week. That Miami defense keeps coming up in some matchups I like. All right, and remember, with those tight ends, all right, we already lost Kittle to injury. We're losing Kyle Pitts. Okay, and we're losing any combination of the Saints that you may be utilizing. But really, the big hurt is Kittle and Pitts. If I need to replace him at tight end, either one of them, Hunter Henry 1, Zach Ertz 2. The targets are still there. Njoku 3, Dan Arnold 4. All right, everybody. Make sure you check out all the great content right here on Rotoballer's YouTube channel, including the running back waiver wire, the wide receiver waiver wire, and then later in the week, all the start sits, and then Scott Engel and I on the King and Pocket Aces show with our sleeper picks of the week for week 6. Be sure to give me a follow on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. And as always, guys, stay smart, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.